what I thought we'd do is have a look at the artwork about halfway through the album. And since if we were to listen to every track from beginning to end, I think it would make the session just too long. So we're gonna kind of leave you hanging with about half of each track. So throw on your headphones, turn up the speakers or whatever to try to get the most of it. Remember that through when we're streaming these tracks, we're actually using the highest quality source that we possibly can use, but nonetheless we were testing it, and the internet's still the internet. So headphones are best, and if not, just crank it up, and hopefully you can get something out of this. But we're just like super thrilled. The record sounds incredible. So anyway, what we'll do is we'll play a good chunk of each track and then sort of fade it out and go to the next one. So the album is a concept. It's a concept record this time, so that it has it's all wrapped into kind of a continuous sequence. And so hopefully today I'll sort of explain that to you as it works. It's into the design and the music itself and all the different elements that tie it together. But the most obvious is the beginning and the end, which is the same music. It's called the opening, and the people stayed home, and then reprise, and the people stayed home. Those of you who joined us, we actually did an in-depth look at that track, which is Mario's composition, and the poetry by Kitty O'Mara. And we told you a little bit about that before, where this incredible piece of spontaneous writing, because she didn't even call it a poem, just went viral, and it was shared all the way around the world. And we were lucky enough to talk to the author about recording it herself. So Kitty was able to record it on a phone, and anyway, so we made it on the record. And so the first and the last track are set up kind of the vibe, this kind of slow vibe with her poetry in it. So what we'll do is we'll play the track through to when the poetry gets expressed, and then we'll sort of fade it out and then move through the record that way. So if that's okay with you, that's what we'll do. And then afterwards we can talk a little bit if you guys have any comments or anything like that. And yeah, we'll rock and roll. So opening the album is called "And the People Stayed Home." It's a Mario Cuba composition, the bass player in the band. This is the first time we've ever had a composition on any record of ours that isn't either by Laura Andrea or myself. So it was a big moment for us to do this, and it's terrific. And the poetry is by Kitty O'Mara, and I hope you enjoy it. Adriana's gonna be DJ tonight.
people stayed home, and they listened and read books and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still. And they listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows. And the people began to think differently. And the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed, and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses, and made new choices, and dreamed new images, and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed.
That's the first track, and then what happens from there, there's the recap of the melody, and then a big drum solo that goes all the way to the end of the song, just really, really intense drum solo. And then over that, we layered in 32 different takes of the poem, just in and out, like almost like a cacophony of sound. So it's pretty cool. All right, so that was the opening, right? And the people stayed home. And then that's going to close the record. So that kind of is, what's it called? It frames it, sort of. And now, like, we hit kind of the high vibes of, like, pre-COVID times. This is when we're still, it hasn't hit, right? And this is called Mirando El Shingo. And I wrote the song, it was essentially a story that I always heard growing up about my grandfather, who's a very well-known novelist in Peru. And he, apparently when he was a kid, they had kind of a farm. The family had like a farm type situation in northern Peru. And they shipped the two brothers out to this farm so they could make something of themselves and get to work. And so my grandfather and his brother, Gerardo, Laura Andrea's grandfather, were shipped off to the family farm, and they were like, and they told the capataz, the person who runs the fields, you know, put them to work. Let's see if these kids can make something of themselves, right? And so when they came back from the first day, the story is that they said, well, how do the kids do, you know? And the capataz said, well, young Gerardo, really great, very focused, very, you know, he was there, he got everything done, he did all his tasks, great. And then they said, well, what about Ciro? That's my grandfather. Well, Ciro, young Ciro, mirando el shingo. And shingo is a type of bird that lives in northern Peru. And apparently, instead of working, Ciro would just kind of stare off into the distance watching these little birds, you know. So the capataz was like, mirando el shingo. So it's just all about kind of daydreaming, right? So I named the tune Mirando el Shingo. But of course, my daydreams are a little bit more high energy. So I hope you enjoy this one. Adriana, I'll send it for you. So that's the head into to mirando el shingo. All right, so that's the happy pre-pandemic vibe, right? So we're all daydreaming and just living life, and everything's great, and it's happy, you know. And then that track ends with energy, and then the guitar kind of goes and just strums the chords at the very end and just holds out the last chord, and then we get hit with the virus. So that starts, the next 4 tunes are a suite that goes together, formerly known way back as the Brooklyn suite, that was part of Diablo in Brooklyn, and we remixed, remastered, reordered, renamed, and relaunched this 4-tune set for this record. And so this track, Adriana will hit it for you now. This track is called COVID-19. It's a 12-tone row. So that's COVID-19. And then COVID-19 is followed by The Mask. And The Mask is going to take it into the direction of tying in with Kitty's poetry by having spoken word as well. And so we had a lot of debate about naming this track. And I think John Osborne is here, and he made a really good point that the original had to do with Son de los Diablos, which is a tradition in Peru where you wear a mask. But of course, it's an artistic mask, and it represents a devil, and it's a historical dance that's actually part of a Catholic ritual at Christmas time. And so we did a lot of title testing, and in the end of the day, that seemed to maintain the balance of where it came from originally and then how we've repurposed it here. So this is us taking like a festejo rhythm but playing it super slow. Festejo is normally a fast beat. It's something that is, festejo means to celebrate, and it's typically the fast tempos like you heard on Mirando El Shingo, the previous, or even the previous track, COVID-19. It was a faster festejo. Here we use festejo, but we use it in a very uncharacteristic way, which is a lot darker and a lot slower. So this is The Mask. The Mask. And that one has a, if you listen carefully, once you get the record and you listen to it, I'm curious if you'll hear this, but there's a crescendo in that song that's ever so loud. And my friend Marco played the cello on it, and it just goes so loud, and then lands on this chord. And once we heard it back, to me it sounded just like the crescendo in A Day in the Life, the Beatles. They do this like big orchestral crescendo in The Day of the Life, right? And then there's a big long note at the end. And so it sounded like that to me. So then we just went for it, and we added other stuff to purposefully make it sound that way. So now when it comes, it's like the spirit of John Lennon and Paul McCartney is in just like 15 seconds of crescendo. You'll hear it eventually, but it's a kind of hilarious. It's almost ridiculous, but it was just so cool that we were just like, yeah, do it. So it was like more cello, more of this, more of that, and we just made it like really, really intense. But that's of course still, very much the COVID vibe. And then we went to the next track, and then the next track is probably the most. I don't think it should be, but somehow it is probably the most controversial kind of titling, and we went back and forth with this one as well as far as what to call it, and it's called George and BREONNA on the album. And after a lot of thinking about this, it just seems like there are some issues that are debatable. In general, there's some issues that are debatable. And then there's some that are just not debatable. So after talking to the band and after really kind of soul searching a little bit about the name of our band and what we do, sometimes we're out of touch with certain things because we're Peruvian, so we live in a different kind of reality regarding some of these things. But the fact of the matter is that I voted for the first time in the United States the other day, and we got some sort of responsibility now to act like, like we got to participate, right? So this is our way of participating in this particular issue, which I don't find to be any issue really. It's just a problem. So I called a couple of my friends who I believe in and trust and who are doing a ton of work on behalf of the Black Lives Matter movement, but not the people picketing on the street, but actually people who are doing a lot of work, like trying to lobby the right people in the right places, just intensely involved. And I asked her and her son to sit with me and name this track based on all the feedback I had from all of you all that participated as well. And so at the end of the day, it's called George and BREONNA, and it's going to match up with the last track of the album before the reprise, which is called OCTAVIO Y NATALIA, right? So this is George and BREONNA, and then towards the end, you guys are going to hear OCTAVIO Y NATALIA, and then I'll tell you when we get there what the tie-in is. So this one is called George and BREONNA, and it features trumpet and saxophone having a really intense, conversation. So here's George and BREONNA. George and BREONNA. And then the fourth movement of this this four-part suite is simply called the new normal. And the new normal is all about adjustment, right? And so you'll hear that we've adjusted, I suppose, right? And also that there's a lot of different people coming together, you know, in this particular sound. So here's the new normal. Panalivio is the rhythm that we use there, and it's the only time in Afro-Peruvian music where things are in what we call duple time. So where the prevailing rhythm is even. So panalivio goes chaka tika chinki taka tiki tiki taka tiki 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 taka tiki 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 chika tika 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 tika. It's even. That's the only time, because everything else in Afro-Peruvian music is triplet based. So zukata ki kum, chukata ki kum, chukata ki kata ki kum, chukum, kata ki kuking, cooking, everything, whether it's fast or slow, chikatukum, chakatukum, chakatikan, kikan, it's still triplet, right? Panalivio is the only exception. So that's why that track in and of itself is going to sound different. And I put in the chat there too, the electric guitar, that's Jocho Velázquez. Jocho recorded our very first album. He was in the band when we did that first tour and did our very first album, Nuevo Mundo. And he came back for this one on the electric guitar as a guest on that one. And what I told him is, I told him to take a B.B. King record and to take an Oscar Avilés record and to just mush them together and then play some stuff. And to me, I mean, I know it's just me, like no one else on the planet probably is like, is enjoying that, but to me, he like did exactly that, and it's just so cool. You know, it's like, wow, if B.B. King and Oscar Avilés were to hang out, that's what would have happened, you know, and he's just an incredible artist, so it was just so cool to hear him do that. All right, so now what I'd like to do is actually show you the artwork. We very quickly unveiled it there at the beginning, right? But what we're going to do now is take about 5 minutes to show you the artwork. And then while you're watching this very clumsy presentation, if you want, if you feel like it, if you have any particular questions about that process, Christian Brown, our one and only designer, is with us. So he'll be available to answer any questions or thoughts that you have about the album cover artwork. So let's look at this. It's about a 5-minute unveiling. Huevito and I put this together, and it'll show more in detail, you know, what's happening with the artwork. Okay, all right, so this is the moment where we are going to unveil the CD, the cover artwork, everything, the prototype. So you're gonna get to see it, and I thought it'd be great to do this with Maestro Freddy Huevito Lobatón. So I'm literally gonna take this camera, and here is the one and the only.
Acá estoy.
So Maestro Lobatón is about to open the CD. So let's have a look at it first.
Oh,
Déjame ver la carátula primero. Vamos a verlo por afuera.
Ahí está.
All right, so here is the way it looks
Distanciamiento
like.
social. Qué bonito este CD, por mi
Now
madre.
here on the cover, Maestro, déjalo quietito pues, para que no se mueva tanto.
Yeah.
The cover here starts the artwork. Some of you may recognize yourselves on there. The band is in the middle, and some of these pictures here are the ones that made it to the front. Now we're gonna have Huevito open it because right now it's in plastic. Maestro,
Okay.
ábralo
Voy a abrirlo
con el swing que lo caracteriza.
con mis manitas.
So Huevito's opening
Ojo.
up
Ok.
the CD.
Plastiquito para afuera. Miren qué belleza. Lo voy a poner por acá. Qué belleza. Lo
And now
voy
we're
a...
gonna start on the back. Vamos a mirar la parte de atrás primero.
A ver.
Because the way it works is when you open up the CD, it's gonna have 4 panels. Ábralo, maestro, los 4 paneles.
A ver. Pero lo voy a poner por acá primero.
Claro.
Entonces,
Pero,
cha-cha-cha-chan.
y ahora todo, dele la vuelta a todo.
Cha-cha-cha-chan y cha-cha-cha-chan.
Alright, so
Miren qué
Huevitos decided
belleza.
not to open up the back first, which is fine. These are the inside credits. You know, nothing too exciting there. I did put in a note that I'll read to you here when we get off back live. This is the actual CD, the physical CD. Those are everybody's actual pictures. Everybody that sent in a picture is literally on the CD itself.
A lo mejor se encuentran por ahí.
Sí, ahí están todititos.
Uy,
Everybody's actually
qué
there.
bacán.
And then over here, we have the words to Kitty O'Mara's poem, first in English and then in Spanish. So you can see it on this side. Now, the artwork I was talking about, ahora denle la vuelta a todo, Mike,
Ajá, darle vuelta a ese guaranito.
continues, and because there were so many submissions, we had to actually do the artwork so it's a continuous print. And Christian's incredible work to put this all together goes from one end to the other. So sorry about the reflection there on my camera. But here I'll just sort of pan. See if you can find yourself if you sent in a picture. There's a band there in the middle and the bottom. And I'm still panning. This is what is the back of the album. Here are the names of the songs. And as you can see, it opens and closes with "And the People Stayed Home." And then we have the other tunes that we've been discussing. Remember when we got together to name the parts of social distancing? Movement 1 is COVID-19. Movement 2, The Mask. Movement 3, George and BREONNA. And Movement 4, The New Normal, is what we ended up going with. And the artwork continues into the inside flap there, so you can see everybody there. And our special guests are listed here who performed on the record. Kitty on the voice, Jocho Velázquez on the guitar, and Russell Ferrante on the keyboards. And that is what we have. So as you can see, it's a long kind of piece of art. And then, Huevito, dele vuelta una vez más.
Ok, yo soy el
Y
que da
ahora
vuelta.
la guardada oficial.
Ok, así.
Oh wait, one thing we forgot. If you take the actual CD out, Maestro,
Esperanza.
¿puedes sacar el CD?
Esperanza.
I couldn't do it
Voy a
one-handedly.
meterle la saca al
Obviously, we rehearsed this really well. So Evita's going to take that out, and that's what the CD looks like, which you were looking at before. And then underneath the clear tray is that picture that repeats. So that gives it the overall kind of effect that we wanted, as far as including everybody and making sure that it's all a family sort of affair, right?
Toda la familia del Sexteto, qué bacán. ¿Ah?
So there you have it. We'll go back live now and talk a little more.
Y distanciamiento social.
So that's the process. And one thing we didn't mention on the man, I'm kind of embarrassed about that video. And did you hear like there's like a vacuum cleaner level like air vent going, and I couldn't turn it off, and it was just like So we decided whatever, it's heartfelt, and at least you kind of get the idea. The gentleman that drew every single person's picture, right? Because we collected the pictures, and in the end, it was about 140 images. So these 140 images had to be hand drawn individually. So we literally now have a collection of 140 individual images from everybody that sent one. So we have everybody's like mugshot except in hand drawn. So we have a collection of everybody's stuff, and the artist's name is Hadi Abdurrahman. And Hadi lives halfway across the world, and he unbelievable. Like, he worked directly with Adriana, actually. Adriana was connected to him all the time and just trying to get everything to look, to look right. And he did a tremendous job in record time, and then of course dumped it all on Christian's lap and said, "Now you figure it out," And so Christian, I think, at least for me, this is like the most beautiful cover. And he also was able to do it over those 4 panels, so it just gives it a lot more breathing room, than the normal the digipack that just opens like this, right? So anyway, I'm gonna bring Christian on hopefully here. If he didn't like bail, he doesn't like it when he's put on the spot. Chris, háblame. Here, let's get Christian on somehow. Prende tu video para no seas malo.
Hi.
There he is.
I was just trying to put my video on.
Well, we're gonna give you a round of applause for the design.
Social distancing applause.
Yeah. So can you tell everybody what this was like for you?
Yeah, first of all, for me, it's a special moment because it's the first time that Gabriel allowed me to make a black and white design. Because I'm a minimal designer, and I love just black and white, and all the time is every time like, no, you have to put colors on it and blah blah blah. So that's special. On the other hand, without Hadid in Malaysia, I couldn't do it because I'm a graphic designer, but I'm not an illustrator. So I did all the work, but not the hand drawings, right? So, well, I think the result is pretty nice. I didn't have see the physical album yet because it's in the US and I'm in Peru. So, as you guys, this is the first time I see the real physical 4-pack, right? And that's it. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I can tell all of you this, like, on the video, it really doesn't do it justice. Like, it's so cool. Like, it's just really cool. Like, I've never been excited about packaging before, and we have we have a really good friend, Jean-Pierre Magnier. He's an older gentleman, sax player that I used to watch when I was a kid in Peru. He was sort of the jazz man in Lima. And he once won a Grammy, like a Latin Grammy, for best packaging, and he always like talks about it as a joke. He's like, yeah, it was never good enough to win a real Grammy, so I won this like packaging Grammy, right? So I think we're in danger of that happening here. I think we might be looking at a packaging.
No, I think the cool thing about this packaging is that the image or the drawings continue. It's like, I don't know, it's Yeah, you have to just open it. I mean, this is maybe the first album that has every layer has a story, you know? I don't know how to explain it, but packaging is a real thing. It's a real deal. I mean,
yeah,
it's not
one of the things that we played with, I mean, we're not gonna go into like analyzing it, but the Christian put a little bit of red in the design, and every little bit of red that's in there creates like a connection that's also reflected in the tracking and in the music. So it's pretty neat. Hey, does anybody have any thoughts for Christian before we listen to the rest of the album? Trying to figure out how to look at everybody.
well, there's some questions on the chat.
Oh, dear me, the chat.
Yeah. Oh, John Osborne maybe offered Prince.
Yeah. Actually, John, yeah, we're going to talk about that here at the end, so do not fear. Yeah. There's a lot of thank yous for Christian for doing a great job, so very cool. All right. Well, thank you, Christian. That was awesome. Let's go on with the music. So the next tune is called Any Day Now. And I tried to get Andrea to hop on, but her husband Thomas is out of town, and she's like single momming, and was just like, there's no way I could come on and like do any kind of credible job. So unfortunately, she's not here to talk about her own music. The next two pieces on the album are Laura Andrea's, and the first of the two is called Any Day Now, right? So you're in the middle of this whole pandemic and quarantine situation, and we're all thinking, man, any day now we're gonna get the vaccine, right? Any day now be able to go back outside, any day now. So the next tune by Laura Andrea is called Any Day Now, and here we switch to landó, and we go back to kind of more introspective sounds that we opened the album with. So we stayed kind of high energy with the social distancing suite, and now we go into more introspective sounds. This is Laura Andrea's Any Day Now. That's Laura Andrea Alegría's Any Day Now, landó. And then the next track is also by Laura Andrea, and it's called Amaranta, which I believe in English is like amaranth, right? And she named that track as we're getting towards the end of the album, and we're getting more optimistic and hopeful. She named it because of that flowering plant that is that survives in the craziest of climates and still has these beautiful flowers. So the idea there is that, you know, with strength you survive and you can create beautiful things in the middle of the most adverse circumstances. Which when we set out to not like fall asleep this entire year, that's what we've been trying to do. You know, just keep going and keep doing concerts. We've been doing them online. We've been, you know, doing all kinds of things to make sure that, you know, that we provide some kind of value to the world in the best way that we know how, and this is how we do it. So to stop doing that just didn't make any sense. So I think this tune is a little bit about that, if I can speak for her a little bit. But it's called Amaranta, so we'll check it out. Another landó. And that was Laura Andrea's Amaranta. And then what happens after that tune is that we have what is essentially the last song of the record before the reprise, right? And so the last song on the record goes back to a very hopeful vibe. The song is called Octavio y Natalia. Natalia is my daughter. She's now 5. And Octavio is Yuri, guitar player's son, who's 4. And we both had kids, you know, more recently, you know, and so that tune on the album cover, you'll see that it's in red. It says Octavio y Natalia. Track number 9 is Octavio y Natalia. It's in red, and then track number 5 is also in red. It's George and BREONNA. So without getting too dark about it, the main idea is that here on this last song, which is written so that you have 2 children playing, and you'll hear that in the saxophone and the trumpet, playing kind of the circular musical game. But the idea is like, this is what we want. We want our kids to be able to grow up safely and without worrying about anything that they shouldn't have to worry about, right? And so that's what we want, you know, and that's who we want them to grow up safely, to be, adults and to have kids of their own and to have a wonderful life. And that sometimes isn't possible for everybody. So this track is a very, hopeful, almost like a prayer, almost a very hopeful thing that we're putting out there in the world on behalf of our children. So this one is called Octavio y Natalia. Okay, so that was Octavio y Natalia, and so that would end, kind of the set, and then there's a reprise of the original track that you heard at the beginning. And we'll play it again because the poetry is in Spanish from the last one, right? And I'll tell you a little bit about Kitty O'Mara. So we were putting this album together, and we decided that Mario's track was so beautiful and just it brought like this color that his harmonic sense and just some of the stuff that he does is different than what Laura Andrea and I do, and so but it fit in so well that we said, you know what, we have to put this music on the record. So we did, and when we were working on the mix and getting ready to like finish up the stuff, like almost done, right? And then Mario calls me like in the middle of the night, as per usual with him, and he calls me and he's like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, but we gotta have poetry on this track if we're going to put it on the album. And I said, well, what are you talking about? He's like, well, right in the middle, there's a little bit of a lull in energy, and it's kind of ambient, and I'm just hearing that there has to be poetry there. And I said, all right, well, if you hear it, then let's get to work on figuring that out. And so I asked him what he was hearing, and he said, I don't know, but I'm hearing something, and I think it needs to be something about, the situation and what we're dealing with, because the whole thing is going to be called social distancing. This was earlier on. And so I said, all right, well, send me something and we'll figure it out. So then he sends me this poem, and he says there's this author that in the 1800s wrote this poem called "And the People Stayed Home." Her name is Kitty O'Mara, and it's this poem, and it's just like perfect. It describes everything. It's unbelievable, and I have no idea. So he sent me the poem, and then I looked. And I Googled a little and did a little research, and it turns out that everybody was thinking that it was Kitty O'Mara, a poet who did exist in the 1800s, who wrote this poem. But it turns out it wasn't. It turns out it was a living person a few months ago who, on her Facebook, wrote these words down and then sent them to a couple of friends and said, hey, this is what I was thinking about the situation. And their friends, her friend said, hey, that's really cool. Can we share it with some people? And next thing you know, this poem goes viral. It got picked up by Deepak Chopra, who's, a very well-known personal development coach and so forth. And he put it on his blog and his thing. Next thing you know, an Australian radio station was airing it. And it just literally went viral, to where now if you put it into YouTube or something, there are dozens and dozens of people taking his poetry and using it, for different things, because it really resonates, even though it's not. Kitty was the first one to explain to us. We did a Zoom with her a couple months ago. If you were on it, you heard her explain that had she even known anyone was going to read this, she would have actually worked on it. But sometimes that's how things reach people's hearts. You don't work on it. And she hadn't worked on it, and it just went viral. And so that's how we got to it. And I said, well, I better find this person. If we're going to try to use this poetry, we better find this person. So we searched high and low, because, sometimes people aren't as easy to find as you think they are. Finally got a phone number and left her 3 messages, I think, and I wasn't getting a call back. And it was about a month. And we had alternative poetry that we were sort of tapping and trying to figure out, well, if we can't use it, we can't use it. If she just, and then at the last minute, when we had already recorded an alternative poem, she calls me and she's like, hi, this is Kitty O'Mara, I'm returning your phone call. And I said, how are you doing? I introduced myself, and she was just like waiting for the worst thing to happen, I think, because she was not happy to hear from me. And the conversation was sort of like, all right, so what do you want? You're just going to use this poetry for free, aren't you? You just want to put it somewhere, don't you? I mean, she was like pissed. And I was like, no. I was like, that's not what I'm calling. I'm calling to find out if we can license your poem. And I think it's beautiful, and it resonates really well with some of the music. And Mario, our composer, has found the perfect spot for it. And, we would license it, and we would print this many discs. And so she realized, okay, we were not some kind of hack. But apparently she'd been suffering a lot, because she's not a, she's not a professional. She's a retired school teacher, and she's done this blog and poetry and things, but she's never had to deal with anything. And suddenly his poem went viral, and literally there's like 3 or 4 classical composers that have written entire choral works with the words. There's all these people. And she said a couple people used it for commercial gain. They were using it on like tourism websites and all this kind of stuff. And it just really started to make her mad that nobody had reached out to her and said, hey, this is actually your poetry. And she said she just didn't have the wherewithal to even deal with it. Because it is very hard when people just take stuff nowadays to sort of, it's not for the faint of heart to get into that. So she was just kind of grumpy. And then she's like, all right, I think I get it. Yeah, please, okay, send me the proposal. I'll have a look. And so So I typed it up, super simple. It was like, Mike, you would not be proud of my lack of skills on the legal side. I just sort of wrote a paragraph in an email. Yeah. Mike Sundermeyer over here, he's a top-notch lawyer. I am not. So I just wrote this little email to her, and I was just like, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do it, and if that's cool with you, let me know. And she literally wrote me back immediately. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I'm totally in on it. I love the track. This is beautiful. Let's do it. And so then we got to be friends. And then in about a week, Mario said, Mario's awesome. Mario said, you know what? I think Kitty should record this poem, right? And meanwhile, I'm like, okay, that's great. But Kitty's like in Wisconsin. And she's like lives in a farmhouse, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't have like any kind of recording equipment. He's like, it doesn't matter. Just like get her to do it on her phone. So I called Kitty and was like, all right, so Mario says it's got to be you. And she goes, really? And what about Spanish? I thought you said you were going to translate. And I was like, well, we have a translation. And do you speak any Spanish? She's like, well, I took it in high school. And I was like, good enough. So we started to work on it a little bit. And so she did takes in English and Spanish, literally on an iPhone, in her closet. And we would just like listen back and be like, all right, put more sweaters up on the walls, And so we literally like built her a recording booth in her closet. And with her phone, she got a pretty decent, take of the track. You heard it in English on the beginning of the show here, and now we'll play. This is the reprise of it. We'll play, through her poetry in Spanish, and this is how the record will end. So, Adriana, you want to hit the reprise?
Y la gente se quedó en casa y leyó libros y escuchó y descansó, hizo ejercicio y arte y jugó juegos y aprendió maneras nuevas de ser y estuvo quieta y escuchó más profundamente. Algunos meditaron, algunos rezaron, algunos bailaron, algunos se encontraron con sus propias sombras. Y la gente comenzó a pensar distinto, y la gente sanó. Y entonces, ya sin gente que viviera de manera necia, peligrosa, absurda y cruel, la tierra comenzó a sanar. Y cuando pasó el peligro y la gente otra vez se juntó, pues hallaron sus pérdidas Eligieron cosas distintas y soñaron con imágenes nuevas. Creyeron maneras nuevas de vivir y así sanaron totalmente a la tierra tal como ellos habían sido sanados. Y la gente sanó.
So that's we played that entire one to kind of wrap up the album part of this. So that's the reprise at the end with Kitty's poetry in Spanish. So that's the record. That's the artwork, and that's what we have going on. Let me go through the calendar a little bit, right? So at the end of November, on November 27th, we're gonna do what's called the pre-release concert. So that will essentially be when we announce the executive producer, the associate producer of the record, and things that we're still sort of working on. We'll have like a little after party via Zoom somehow with a toast and stuff like that on the 27th of November. So between now and then, what happens starting about 15 minutes ago is we're going to launch what's called the Kickstarter campaign. And some of you already know what that is and have very generously supported us in the past. But this is sort of when the rubber meets the road. You've seen we have this great product, right? We have the CDs done. It's a beautiful thing. And now what we have to do is make sure we can launch it. So the official release date is January 29th, right? But on November 27th, we're going to essentially close out the fundraising for the record, right? And we're completely independent on this. And so that means that we come to you, the fan base, and everyone sort of pitches in to whatever level you can to make it happen. And we do it through a platform called Kickstarter. The interesting thing about Kickstarter is that it's an all or nothing platform, right? It's an all or nothing platform, meaning that you set a funding goal, you try to raise that amount of funding, and if you get there, success. If you don't get there by the deadline, everybody gets their money back and you don't actually get anything. So it's an all or nothing sort of scenario, and we've always made it in the past, and so I have no doubt we'll make it now, but it's always, kind of a stressful month. So we're going to launch it tonight, and the way the algorithms work, now that they're more advanced, these algorithms, is that if people, here's what I'm going to ask of you tonight, for everyone to go on this page, and even if like you can't afford anything but like whatever in fact you can write in $1 if you want. If you can all pitch in tonight, it sets the algorithm so that it'll prioritize our project when a whole bunch of people act at the same time. So we just kind of launched this, and so the first day is pretty critical. So when I get off, I'm going to send an email to everyone who's not here, just sort of saying the Kickstarter is live, and would you please go and contribute. If you don't mind, I'll take a couple minutes out to walk you through it, so that you see what it's about. So Adriana, what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and play the Kickstarter video, and in the meantime, maybe you can get the Kickstarter page up, and we'll show everybody what's available on it and how it functions. Because we've made it really fun. Everything on this record, I have to say this, everything on this record is like, it's the most rebellious we've ever been. And you wouldn't know that because you're just seeing, kind of the creative. But I've literally told producers to piss off. We got phone calls from labels, told them to piss off, because just people want to do things that we don't want to do. And on this record, we said we're going to do it, including how we're opening and closing. You're not supposed to open and close an album with the most ethereal, thought-provoking music. That's not what you're supposed to do, because when people audition it to put it on the radio and all that, they just want to get to it. And we said no, because it's a concept album, it has a shape. So we are going to be wholly dependent on everybody who's involved to support this record to get it to the finish line. So we have to get the publicists paid, the distribution people paid. We're doing an agreement with Tiger Turn Records, which is mostly a distribution channel that's going to distribute things digitally and so forth. But all of these things cost a lot of money that go beyond the production. So that's really what we're raising money for, is being able to put the record out, to push it out the door. Because we have it done, and it's great. And I am happy to say that we had a couple has come on board as the executive producer level, and that's a secret. They don't want anyone to know. So we're going to let everybody know in November. But we're still looking for associate producers for this record. And so if you're interested in that, that's not on Kickstarter because it's a more involved conversation. So please reach out if you want to be an associate producer on this record, because we would welcome that. And but for everybody else, I want to share this little video with you now. And it's like 3 minutes of your time, just to again, it's Huevito and I kind of being clumsy. And then some pictures that I think you'll enjoy from the recording session. And you'll see how hugely spaced out things are, and it'll kind of give you a little bit of the vibe of the actual recording session for this album, right? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm not as good as Adriana at this, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then hit you with this little video. Hold on, I'm not sure if I did sound. You see what I'm saying? Let me try it again. I didn't do sound. Okay. So here it comes.
El nuevo disco. Muchas gracias por el apoyo, gracias por apoyarnos para hacer esta hermosa obra de arte. Maestro, explíquenos.
Maestro, gracias.
¿De qué se trata esto?
Hey, welcome to our Kickstarter page. This is Maestro Freddy Huevito Lobatón, our master percussionist, Gabriel Alegría. I've had the pleasure and the honor of leading this band for the last 15 years, along with Maestro Lobatón, of course. And this is social distancing. It is ready for the world. This is a 4-panel artwork on the CD. because it involves 120 different fans of the band that sent us their pictures. And we're just thrilled to be able to bring this to everybody. It's been a hell of a year, 2020, but you know what? We're celebrating. We're celebrating that we're gonna get out of this, we're gonna move on, and we don't ever wanna forget. This record, it talks not just about the pandemic, it talks a little bit about social justice, and it talks a little bit about the things that we've learned during this time. And so your contributions to this Kickstarter are gonna get us to the finish line, are gonna be able to, do things like actually launch the record, radio publicity, print publicity, all the usual stuff. And we can't do it without you. We've always come to you in the past, so I'm just, really excited to be here, to be able to bring this to you. And check out all the different rewards that we have set up, all kinds of cool ways to incentivize you participating. And we're going to be in touch, just keeping in touch about how this is going. We're trying to get to that finish line by the deadline, and Kickstarter is all or nothing. So you put your contribution down, and if we make the goal, then awesome. If we don't make the goal, then we don't get anything, and it's just a flop. So we don't want to flop, and we know that you're there for us. Maestro Lobatón is here, and just encourage you to participate and let us know if you need anything. We'll get those rewards right out to you as they're marked here on the page, and really look forward to your support and to your continued listening to our music and exchange of ideas.
Thank you. Gracias.
So that's our Kickstarter video, and what I'd like to do now is have Adriana show you the Kickstarter page, right? And the Kickstarter platform, as I said before, is a place where different types of artistic and creative and different types of projects funding. Oh well, somebody already did this. Well, thank you. Well, that's appreciated. Wow, cool. I had no idea. So we just opened this up. Lovely. So basically we have 33 days to do this, right? We have 33 days to do this. The video you just saw, you can re-look at it when you hit play here at the top, right? Oh yeah, they can't see my thing. Thank you, Adriana. And then I thought I was moving the page. You're so good. Wow. Okay, so let's scroll down then. And then what you'll see, we have the story of the band and so forth on the left-hand side with a message about this particular album. But what I'd like to focus on now is on the right-hand side. Yeah, go ahead and scroll the left first. I guess they scroll separately. So scroll the left first. Yeah, so that's the message, right? And there's an image there with all the different rewards we've created. So stop there, Adriana. And then we're gonna kind of describe them one at a time here on the right-hand side, but keep going down. And you don't need to read this right now, obviously, but there's Laura Andrea in the recording studio. Our dates are on there. There's Google. And there's Yuri. And there's Mario. And Bebito. And there's me. And then the vital stats of the record at the bottom. You know, the tune names, how long they last, and so forth. And then a risk and challenges section that's required by Kickstarter. So what we try to do with this is build out rewards and things for everybody's cooperation, right? So we'll go through those on the right-hand side now. And on the right-hand side, the first one is pledge without a reward. And that's what I'm talking about. If we can get everybody who's on this call tonight to just, if you have $1, just put in $1. if you can't afford whatever, because every person that does it within that first kind of day, it helps the algorithm kind of kick this more into high gear with people that we don't even know. So that's kind of an important thing, if everybody can sort of see their way clear to participate in some way when we're done here. And then we go up from there. So $10 is the MP3 download of the whole CD, everything you just heard now, just emailed to your inbox so you can download it and put it anywhere you want to listen to. And then $20 is actually a new thing for us. It's a high resolution digital download. So if you're a listening nerd, you know that CDs are recorded at about 44K. And if you can see this little number here, that's 96K, which is literally twice that resolution that you would get on a CD. These are the monster tracks that you get from the studio, and that's what you sort of work with. So those are very high quality digital downloads. So that's the $20 level, and then at the $30 level, we built out several options. A signed copy of the new CD, which has always been our standard thing that we do, and so we're doing that again. And there's a description of the CD, obviously, and then the social distancing T-shirt, which is also designed by Christian. You see it there, and it literally has everybody's art, everybody's collaged artwork, but in a different shape. And then at the same level, at the $30 level, is the print. And I know somebody mentioned that you wanted a print. So what we did with the print is we took Kitty's poetry and we've made it into a print here in the middle, and the artwork featured at the top and at the bottom. You can see it there a little bit. If you actually go on the site, you'll be able to see it better. And then if you go on down on the right, there's an online concert ticket that you can get, and this will get you access to our November 27th pre-release concert, right? That's the concert where we're going to announce the executive producer, the associate producers for the band, and have a little toast and that sort of stuff. And this will get you the concert ticket plus the high-res digital download. So that's kind of cool. And then moving on down, there's a limited edition social distancing mask. And let me tell you guys, it's not easy to make masks right now, so it's ridiculous. It's like $40. And I literally just had to write, "Are you kidding?" because it's like ridiculous. So, but it's something I think that'll just be historically cool to have. So if you think that might be cool, we'll also including the download with that, the high res download with that, so you get the music as well in a high res digital format. And then we have some bundles, the T-shirt plus the digital download. That's one bundle, and then below that, this is called a net gator. See that on the top right there? Yeah, that's called a net gator, and it's really cool. Christian did all of these designs, and so that kind of could be a fun thing for the winter. And then below that, this is our traditional bundle with the CDs, right? So you get the new CD plus kind of a cross section of the CDs from the history of the band, and you get all those delivered. And then the high-res bundle and swag is literally a lot of different things. So you want to scroll down there, and then we can show them. Yeah, so that's the high-resolution tracks and the CD itself, the designer T-shirt, and the mask or the neck gaiter. And then below that, the jawbone of an ass. And what we mean by that is the quijada de burro, right? This is the instrument that we play a lot. That's the quijada de burro. And so what we do is we'll have Huevito sign one of those for you, and we'll send it out to you. Now there's only 25 of those because that's what we have here in stock. And you can imagine this is not like, you don't just go to a corner store and get one. But we brought in 25 from Peru so we could do this Kickstarter. So they're actually sitting there waiting, but we do have to limit it to 25 on the jawbone. And yes, Jamie, we're actually doing that. We did it last time and it was great. So down below that is the high value bundle, we call it. So you're getting everything there, right? The high resolution tracks, the CD, the social distancing face mask, the neck gaiter, the art print, just everything in a pack. So you get the music and the swag. And then a couple of the higher level things. This is the Adopt a Tune. And I would be remiss if I don't mention John Osborne, who's on the call here. He's done this in the past and adopted one of the tunes, which essentially means that we'll send you the music and engrave your name on the sheet music, so that you have a copy of that as a commission, you know. So that's to, you know, you can pick your favorite tune and we'll add your name, commissioned by your name for that particular composition. So obviously we're limited to 9 of those because there are 9 tracks, so we can't do more than that. And then the always popular limited edition autographed cajon. This is like a beautiful instrument, and we're now using the Huevito Lobaton model. And it's actually a new model cajon that Guamani in Peru has designed and developed just for Huevito. So it's cool. It's a great instrument, and he'll sign it, and we ship it. We actually have to ship that one from Peru. So that's a fun trip. And I have to mention, I think Susan Talarico has one in her from the last Kickstarter. She has one in her living room. I remember the picture, Susan, and that was awesome. So yeah, so that's the entire Kickstarter page. And before we hang up, Adriana's going to put that in the chat so you have the link and you can go right to it. And so for now, I'm gonna let's exit this share screen. But that's essentially what it is. Did I see, before we talk, did I see Kitty show up? Kitty O'Mara? Are you there, Kitty? Your name is on the screen. She's gone silent. That's Kitty, the poet. And we were just talking about her in depth, and it looks like she's down there somewhere. Well, maybe she'll want to pop on. We did a session with Kitty a couple months ago that was really pretty cool, with Kitty and cello player on the track, Marco. He was in Peru and she was in Wisconsin, and we kind of had a conversation about that. But man, oh, that's so great. I wanted to have Kitty say something. Oh well, maybe she's not quite available, but I'm glad she stopped by. That's awesome. So that's what we have. That's what we have going on, and anything you can do to support this project is incredibly appreciated. We're going to, I mean, we're taking everybody on this one, you know, and I had a talk with, there's a very nice gentleman, his name's Kabir Segal, and you might have seen him if you have records by a lot of the sort of top Latin American artists, because he's like producer on a lot of these records, and he's probably gonna be in on this one, and his job is sort of, you know, to broker with all the powers that be and all this kind of stuff, you know, come Grammy time. Oh, Susan, is that your cajon? Here, let me spotlight it. This is from the last time we did this. There it is, Freddie Huevito Lobaton signature. Yeah, thanks. That's so cool. I remember you sent me the picture of it in your living room, and Mark, your son, was like upset because you had put it backwards or something. He was very mad. But I thought it was kind of hilarious. But thanks for sharing that. Yeah, everybody's, I don't know if anyone else froze. I just froze. That's why I was trying to get myself back together.
You get my mic, maybe?
Oh, there's Kitty. Hey, Kitty. Oh my goodness.
Hey, buddy.
How
are you?
It's so good to see
I'm
you.
fine.
You know, I didn't want to bother you, like, to come on, and you just found us anyway. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I was listening.
Okay, well, we talked about you at length earlier, and I don't know if you were.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that, but that's okay. Maybe that's. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of new fans right here. Everybody, this is Kitty O'Mara. You can just do some, like, a round of applause.
Oh, no.
So
No,
yeah.
thank you. No. Yeah, how are you all?
we've been hanging out. We listened to the music. We've looked at the cover artwork.
Oh, Poop, I'm sorry.
And now we're just trying to raise a little money for the record. So I took everybody through the Kickstarter campaign and
Yeah, I watched that.
oh, okay. Yeah,
I got the time wrong. I'm sorry.
that's okay. I'm just so glad to see you. I didn't expect you to. Wow, that's amazing. Rolf says it's an honor to meet you, Kitty. That's so cool.
It's an honor to meet all of you. That's so kind of you. I'm really excited. Really excited.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to convince Kitty to come to New York and actually do the poetry live with us. And if that doesn't involve risking her life, I'm sure she'll do it. But
Yeah.
But of course, if it's involving risking your life, we wouldn't want that. But in any event, yeah. So cool. All right. So that's all we have. That is all we have. Does anybody have any questions or any thoughts or anything that you want to share or any I don't know, anything? You're welcome to unmute and mute and just sort of go for it. Because I'm having a hard time getting everybody on the screen. Okay, now I have everybody on the screen.
I have a quick question.
Gail, sure.
Did you superimpose the poem over the music? I mean, it just plays together so beautifully. How did you decide where the poem would be with the music, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, right. Well, the first moment was just Mario calling me in the middle of the night and just saying, if you're going to put this on the record, it has to have, because we had sort of said, hey, do you want to put your music on record? Because we've never put anybody's music on record other than Andreas and myself. So we'd like to put your music on a record, but that's like a kind of a step, it's like a big step. So, and he said, yeah, sure. And then we mixed it, but then he was listening back and he called me and said, you know what, if you want to put it on a record, we have to find some poetry right in the middle. And he told me minute 120 until, whatever it was, is like, that's where it goes. And we just have to put it in there. And yeah, we'll turn down the guitar and we'll do this because that's where it has to go. And I listened to it and he was right. The track was really beautiful. And then, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me telling you, sometimes when you go to the studio and something doesn't work out, like Yuri wasn't, he wasn't all there on that take on the guitar section. And so it just ended up sounding a little like, it just kind of flattened out there, right? And so Mario was like, yeah, it kind of flattens out and I don't want to record somebody else soloing on it. I'd rather do this poetry thing. And I listened to it and I was like, yeah, you're right. And that's what I was telling you earlier. Then I was like, please find something that you like and that'll work in about a minute 20. And then he found this poetry by an author in 1800 named Kitty O'Mara and, and sent it to me. Poor Kitty's over there like, yeah, story of my life. And he sent it to me, and then I did a little research on it and realized it wasn't anybody in the 1800s, and it was actually somebody who was alive and kicking. And she was featured in Oprah magazine, so thanks to Oprah magazine, I had one of our team members, Antonella, I was like, you have got to find, this poet. You have to find her. So she started digging around, and then she sent me, okay, I've got a cell phone number, I got a home number, supposedly this will work, but the home number was wrong, so all I had is a cell number. And then I called Kitty and left her a few messages, and then she wasn't getting her messages, right, Kitty? And then eventually you did. And I told him also, I hope you don't mind, Kitty, I told him earlier that when I first called you, you were kind of grumpy because you were like, oh, this guy's gonna rip me off, So I sort of told that story, and then I said, now we're friends. So basically what happened then, Gail, is that once we settled on the poetry, then Mario further said, I really think Kitty should record it if she wouldn't mind. Mm-hmm. And so then Kitty literally tried different places in her house, and at the end of the day sent us like 30 takes. I don't know, it was a whole bunch of takes from her closet, from different places. and then Julio Ortega, and we'll definitely need to have Julio and our mastering engineer, I think, do a session on the sound for this, because that's a whole world unto itself. And so Julio took Kitty's tracks that were done based on a phone, right, Kitty? Just on your phone?
Right.
Yeah, so she sent just her voice memos, basically. And then Julio played around with it so that it would still sound like, we weren't trying to make her not sound like a phone. The idea was like, this is social distancing, it's pandemic, it's like, it's okay for it not to sound like a proper studio microphone. So instead of trying to layer on all the effects and stuff, he sort of did the opposite. He was like, just drop her in there like she's literally on the phone, and just kind of massage it a little bit. So there's a little bit of play with the timing, but mostly Kitty did it because we gave her the track. So she would put on the headphones and listen to the track and then talk into her phone while listening to the music. And then we did a little bit of like shifting it, but not much. It's all her just kind of vibing with the music and reading it in English and impressively then in Spanish. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
I have a question.
Is that Jamie?
Yes, it is.
Can we see your beautiful face, or are
Oh,
you
God.
just you're just, come on.
I have not showered today. You don't want to
Neither
see
have
my,
I. And
you
I'm
know,
supposed to
my
be like, I'm
precious
supposed to be clean for this, and like, yeah.
I turned it on. I don't know if you can see me.
You look great. You look terrific.
So my question is, Kitty, do you write other poetry? Was this just a thing that you did that day, or is this an ongoing thing?
No, I've written all my life, Jamie. I have a blog. It's called The Daily Round, and a lot of my poetry is posted there, and that's where I posted this poem. Also, I wasn't just a little crabby. I was a bitch. And people called me. I thought it was just another of hundreds and hundreds of people, that wanted something. And so, no, and I hope he knows that I am so grateful for this co-creation. It was wonderful, completely wonderful.
Yeah, some of us have some experience working with creators and people who create copywritten material. And so as soon as Gabriel told us the story, like I was like, oh, I can just imagine how she would feel with all these people everywhere reproducing and using her material, her poem, without any kind of consent and without any kind of compensation. I was like, oh, I can feel that. So, but
that's kind of you. Thank you.
I work with writers,
it was
so I
mostly
know.
all good. Yeah, it was mostly all good, Jamie.
Well, this is definitely a good result of it.
Yes, it's wonderful. I cannot wait to hear this entire album.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Thank you, Jamie. And I'll get you one ASAP, Kitty. We just got the boxes. So
no. I'll get one.
No, come on, stop it. But anyway, but thank you so much for being here. Anybody else have anything that they want to say or add or share? It's so good of you to all hang out.
I just wanted to say we're already on 6 backers on Kickstarter, and it's been live for like
a few, just recently. Yeah, very cool.
Which is amazing.
And this is Adriana, everybody.
Hi.
Woohoo!
You probably got an email from me. And I also just posted that we're live on Facebook, so if you have us on Facebook and you can share that picture, just to let your friends know that we are live now.
And then the super important thing right now is just that hopefully all of you can just go and do something, because that motion in that first day, the algorithms of this site really prefer that. So it's just really helpful if you, even if like $10 is too much and you want to put in $1, I mean, whatever you do is helpful in that regard. Just to push it forward. If you can do more, bless you, because it's gonna be tough. We gotta get to $8,000 basically, and it's all or nothing with Kickstarter. So if we make it, great, and if we don't make it, everyone gets their money back, and there's no funding for anybody. So it's very transparent that way, and it's always worked well. And then November 27th, of course, we have a concert. So if you want to do that and pick up the ticket, and you can do it at Kickstarter too, or separately, whatever. November 27th, that'll be essentially the closing effort for the Kickstarter project. You know, we'll talk about it on November 27th, and we'll be announcing the executive producer and associate producer level contributors. Those are not on Kickstarter. We reach out sort of privately, and if any of you are interested, let me know. We are blessed. The executive producers are on board, so we're super psyched about that. Now we're just still trying to get the associate producers on board. And anyway, so that's just, you know, life in the Afro-Peruvian jazz fast lane. Hey, one other thing I wanted to say, Gerald, we've never met, right?
No, we talked on the phone once.
Okay. But I want to say something very cool about you.
Okay.
Well, you might not think it's so cool, but I think it's incredibly cool. So Christian in August was putting together the Afro-Peruvian Sextet's new website, and we're still putting it together. We're still not done, whatever. But as we work to get it done, one of the things he did in August is he put up all of our own shop. We built our own shop, so we wouldn't have to go through third parties. So we built our own shop, and he built the shop, but it wasn't live. Like, we hadn't told anybody about it. And suddenly Gerald buys a CD, which we hadn't stocked. It was a mess. It was like, because we hadn't shared it with anybody. It was live because we had to test it. And I had ordered a CD and I had ordered a T-shirt and I was making sure that everything was working. But suddenly, like, Christian's like, who the hell's Gerald, like, Schlabach? And I was like, I don't know, like, what happened? He's like, somebody ordered a CD. I was like, oh shit. So I'm like running to the post office to send him, you know, his CD. And that was like in August when nobody even knew the shop was there. So bless you, Gerald. That was very inspirational. We were like, oh, this might be like a cool thing, you know? So.
Well, you might remember that I had ordered the vinyl. This was like 2 or 3 years ago for the 10 album. And it didn't come. Something happened. It didn't come. So I wrote to you directly, and we actually corresponded. And then you were just working on this at the time, and you let me listen to a track or two, to get some reaction. So
now I'm remembering this.
Yeah, and you sent me.
So our relationship started with a fuck up on my end. That's the story of my life.
But you gave me 2 copies of the vinyl, so that I could give. My intention was to give one to my son as a gift, and the other you signed, and so I put it on my wall. But,
wow, thank you.
No, don't think of it as a fuck up. We're fine.
That's very sweet. No, I remember all that. I just hadn't put it together. That was you.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. Anyway, well, we do what we can, and also a lot of you here, well, not a lot of you here, but several of you here are Tour Peru alumni, and at least one of you is still waiting to go to Peru, right, Gail? We'll make it. Poor Gail, she's been waiting to go to Peru, and so are we. But John Osborne is here, and he went to Peru. And Jamie went to Peru, and Rolf went to Peru. Anybody else? Oh, Tina Barron is down here, well, in the dark, but she went to Peru. Oh, and Paula Thompson went to Peru. So, yeah. And Hector Rojas, you were hiding, my friend. I think you should show your face, because a lot of these folks have seen you at concerts. Hector worked with us a lot on the shows in New York at Zinc Bar and stuff. He was working the floor on the front and trying to, you know, save us from some of the issues of working with the club. And Hector has always been there for us. And I saw him chatting up the chat, but I want to see him in person. But anyway, all right. So I don't want to bore everybody with personal stuff, but very much appreciate you guys being here tonight and spending some time, you know, to listen to this. Are you saying goodbye, Kitty, or are you raising your hand?
Oh, I thought you were. So I was too.
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Gerald. I appreciate you letting me pick on you like that.
Can I say one more thing quick?
Yeah, of course.
I want to commend Kitty for her Spanish. That takes a lot of courage. and it's pretty good for a gal from Wisconsin. So
It's really it's now that you mention that, one of the things that went on when Kitty sent it, is she sent it to us, and her Spanish is not native, and so some people in Peru listened to it and said, you cannot do this here, that's not going to fly, and I thought, okay, so we had somebody record it, who's a beautiful her name's Pilar de la Hoz. She's also in the Afro-Peruvian jazz movement. She's a beautiful singer, has a beautiful voice. She did a really nice job on the poem. And then Mario, once again, was like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I don't know. I mean, it has to be in proper Spanish. He was like, no, what are you doing? You have the author who's going to do it herself, and you're going to, like, have Pilar do it? I'm like, well, Pilar's great. He's like, I know Pilar's great, but, like, you have the author. You can't do that. I was like, oh, maybe I can't do that. See, I have no thoughts of my own in my own band. It's just my life. But he was right, because it really, it has more integrity when the whole thing is done by Kitty. So yeah, the Spanish isn't perfect, but when we did this with Kitty and Marco, we had a Zoom like this. I invited the Peruvians in on purpose. Like right now, it's all English speakers mostly, except for Juanje, who's down here. But we did it with Peruvians, and no one even remotely thought about that. They all thought what you said, Gerald. It was like, wow, that's so cool that she just did it. Like that's like it's an honor. So Mario was right again, and I'm really glad that we did that. Perfect is never needed, All right, I think we're done. I think that's all we have. We have nothing.
Someone bought the
share.
cajon.
What?
Go look at the page. Someone bought the cajon.
You're monitoring the Kickstarter page?
I was planning to go and I was planning to buy it, and someone beat me to it. Whoever you are, congratulations.
Wait, there's only one?
There's only one.
Really?
It says reward no longer available. And
Adriana, that's a mistake. We need to change that. We need to change. That's a big mistake. That's my fault, not your fault. But that's a mistake. Now I remember our first conversation. See, here's what happened. Originally, we thought, let's put one on because we actually physically had one here in the United States. And then I thought, yeah, but the problem is that one is a little bit beat up. And then we thought, well, that's okay because it's Huevito beating it up, right? But then I thought, yeah, but what if somebody wants to, like Susan did, what if somebody wants to put it in their living room and, like, have it look nice, right? And this cajon doesn't look so great. So then we called Wamani in Peru, and Christian actually schlepped himself to the post office in Lima just to figure out how expensive it is to send a cajon. And it's terribly expensive. Whatever. But then we thought it's better to do it than not to do it. So Adriana, could you change that?
How many do you have?
Yeah, change that because that's bad.
How many?
That actually doesn't have a limit because Wamani's gonna make them. He's literally gonna make them like one at a time and send them out. Is anyone on tour Peru here? Did anybody get to go to Wamani's? I don't think we have anybody from that year here.
I didn't get to go to that one.
No, that was after your time. Wamani
Yeah.
has come into the circle like later. It was a more recent tour, but I don't think any of you that went on here actually met him. We actually went up to his shop, and he did a whole thing of like showing us how he makes the instruments and everything. It's really hip, and he's like just a fabulous like cajon maker. And so anyway, so he's gonna make them and send them out, So that's all set up. So yeah, did you fix it, Adriana? I'm dying here.
Would it be weird if I wanted the one that Huevitos used?
Well, I mean, you're family, so if you say that you want it, I know that you know that it's not going to be perfect.
No, but I feel like I know from a friend of mine who's a musician that guitars develop a certain to me then it becomes a useful instrument as opposed to just a piece of art to sit in your living room. Like,
Right. Yeah, so like the cajon, when it's brand new, players do break them in. That's true. Well, any instrument just about, right? Any instrument
Yeah.
has that process. But when I mean like huevitos played, this one that we have, because we only have the one huevito model here in the States. So like it's chipped at the top, and there's a picture of it on our shop. But we actually photoshopped the chipping. We're so sad. We actually photoshopped. We had Kristen, who did all the photography for the online shop on the website. She tweaked it. I think Kristen tweaked it. We try to make it look a little more presentable. But that's the only one that's living here right now. And Huevito's actually not playing it. He's playing this other prototype because he's testing this other development of the model or whatever. So yeah, you could, if you want.
I'll do my backing and then I'll talk to you about it afterward.
Yeah, that saves us on shipping.
Yeah, well, I like the idea of something that I could actually like play around with.
Yeah.
And,
well, the other one, the new ones are beautiful. I mean, they're real instruments. It's not like it's not like they're not. But
it's not going to be. It's not broken in, and I'm not a professional, so I wouldn't know how to treat it right.
All right,
so,
fair enough.
I don't know. It's just a thought. I'll get back to you on that. But I will go.
And any of you can go over to Susan and Mike's house and try out, the cajon they have.
I have another question. If it says on the backing like a certain amount or more. If we wanted to do more than one thing, like if I wanted to pledge to get a cajon but also get one of the CDs, the signed CDs, how would I communicate to you that that's why I put in extra money?
Well, usually what we do is I say usually, it's not like we've done a million times, but with some of the larger gifts and stuff, we'll slag you up. Like, we'll send you other stuff too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, we usually try to, over deliver or something.
Very kind.
Because if we still have to ship something to you, it's we can put other things in there. But thank you, Jamie. That's so generous of you.
I have wanted one since 2014.
Okay, fair enough.
I was supposed to go with oh God, what was his name? Your friend who was our kind of tour director. His name is escaping me. Oh my God.
Christian?
No.
In Cusco and Lima.
In Lima. Isn't he like a relative of yours?
Oh, I see. Okay, the year you were there, that was with Alvaro, my cousin.
Yes, Alvaro.
Yeah.
He and I had a whole chat about really wanting cajones, and there was something we were doing where it was like, if we could duck out of whatever this thing was that was the next day, he and I were going to race off to a store and try to get them. And it's probably better that I didn't because it would have been so hard to bring it home. But anyway, it's been a lot of years of me thinking I really want one of these.
That's so cool.
Anyway, thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, Christian is here. Christian's here on the call if you want to say hi to him somewhere.
Hi, Christian. I do remember you from that year.
But you're talking about my cousin Alvaro.
Yeah, Alvaro.
Yeah. Alvaro moved to the jungle. He lives in the jungle.
He and I stayed in touch for a little while by email, and I remember him emailing and saying he was doing that, and like with his wife and his kid. And
yep. They literally moved to the jungle. It's amazing. Like every time we Zoom, he's like walking around. Yeah, it's like he's on another planet.
There's no COVID over there.
Yeah, among other things, they have no COVID. He's like, I don't know what you're all talking about, but yeah, it's like, it's really isolated. Like you don't fly there. You literally fly to the city and then, yeah, it's almost like you have to trek to get to his house.
Hey, Gabriel?
Yes, sir.
I put a link to a picture from Wamani's shop on the chat, just in case.
Oh, okay, cool. That way people can go look at his picture instead of donating to Kickstarter. Thanks a lot, man. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's a picture of, it's a picture of from our visit.
Yeah. Oh, right. Cool. So if you click on it, you can see it. Okay, I'm clicking on it. Ah, I see. There it is. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, that's Wamani's shop.
That's the cajon talking about.
Yeah. Man, what a fun hang. This is cool. By the way, if any of you just want to go away and you sign out, that's totally fine. I'm not like nothing like really exciting is gonna happen now, except just
That is a really cool photograph of the shop. Thanks for posting it.
Christian, can you just screen share it for everyone who doesn't want to click and Google and
yeah,
stuff?
sure, yeah.
I'll give you.
I mean, it's just a picture, yeah.
I know, but we'll keep talking about it, and people are like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I clicked on it and it took me to this weird window and I had to resize it and stuff. So
yeah.
People are
So
on different computers.
I'm talking about this, right? So.
Right.
It's beautiful.
So this is the last group from Tour Peru from last year.
Right.
And this is the Huevitos prototype cajon, and that's what we're talking about. And this is Wamani's shop. He makes guitars and cajons, and well, he's a master in wood art, right? So
keep that up for a second because I want to talk about this picture. There's a lot here. There's a lot here. So do you guys see Huevito?
Yeah.
He looks almost pissed off, and the reason is this was us visiting. This was like a 2-for-1. Like we were on Tour Peru, and we've been talking to Wamani about developing a Huevito cajon, but Huevito had never played Wamani cajons, and so during this tour he was trying out these different cajons that Wamani was making. And then this was kind of the visit to the shop where everybody was kind of getting a tour of the shop, but Huevito was checking it all out. So he was like, kind of grilling this guy and just like checking. And I think that face is just like, that's exactly what that was, He was like, yeah, I don't think so, Well,
that happens with all cajon players. They don't believe it. Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah. And then this woman here. Do you want to go back to the previous picture?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, this was kind of exciting. This was our first ever Peruvian American to go on Tour Peru, and it was so cool because she when she called me and she was like, I really want to do this, and she told me, I was like, well, if your entire family lives in Peru and you go back there, twice a year, I don't know what we're gonna do for you, And she goes, well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna tell my family I'm going, because every time I go, from the moment I step off the airport, I just get familied, and all I ever do is go to like tea with the aunties, and I'm not even gonna tell them I'm going, and this is gonna be secret, and it's gonna be my way to find out about my culture, because she left Peru when she was 18. So this was like her going back and figuring it out, and it was really neat. It was so cool because we'd never had an actual Peruvian on the tour. So anyway, it was pretty neat. Janine Almandos. Hey Vicky, we didn't perform the CDs in this space, although now that you mention it, what an idea.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Ciao.
Thanks, Christian. All right, everybody. I think we've, probably like tired you all out. Please go to the Kickstarter page if you can. Please go. Try to just do something there if you can. And if by any chance you want to do associate producer or executive producer, I'm very findable, and we can talk about that. But thank you so much. Hector, you didn't show your face, brother, and now you're chatting again. I want you to say hi to people. You're a very important part of the family here. I don't know what Hector's doing. He just won't come on. Hector, by the way, is an incredible event organizer. There he is. Well, I see why you don't want to come on, because we can't see you. I'm going to unmute, sir. Unmute. Hector, unmute, brother. We can't hear you. I can't unmute him. This is so frustrating. Unmute yourself. Unmute. Oh, there we go. He's unmuted, but we still can't hear him. We can't hear you, sadly. Maybe that's why you were chatting. It's okay. Hector Rojas, he's a great event planner. He works with the Peruvian consulate a lot, and he actually planned La Andrea's wedding to a T and did an awesome job. So, Hector, I'm sorry we can't hear you. He's also the funniest guy ever. We can't hear you. I don't know. I don't know. We can't hear you. Now you're muted, so we definitely can't hear you. But even when you're unmuted, we can't hear you. All right, we'll get you next time. Hey, thanks everybody. We'll post it once again. What we'll do here is we'll go to share screen. We'll just play some music, and then we'll have I'll put the link in the chat for the Kickstarter to make it easier. Or actually, I lost the link. Diana, maybe you do? Oh, I found it.
I got it.
You got it? Okay. So that'll be the last thing on the chat, so everybody can go there if you have a moment. And thank you very, very much. Really appreciate the company. Hope to see you guys very, very soon.
El nuevo disco. Muchas gracias por el apoyo, gracias por apoyarnos para hacer esta hermosa obra de arte. Maestro, explíquenos.
Maestro, gracias.
¿De qué se trata esto?
Hey, welcome to our Kickstarter page. This is Maestro Freddy Huevito Lobatón, our master percussionist, Gabriel Alegría. I've had the pleasure and the honor of leading this band for the last 15 years, along with Maestro Lobatón, of course. And this is social distancing. It is ready for the world. This is a 4-panel artwork on the CD because it involves 120 different fans of the band that sent us their pictures. And we're just thrilled to be able to bring this to everybody. It's been a hell of a year, 2020, but you know what? We're celebrating. We're celebrating that we're gonna get out of this, we're gonna move on, and we don't ever want to forget. This record, it talks not just about the pandemic, it talks a little bit about social justice, and it talks a little bit about the things that we've learned during this time. And so your contributions to this Kickstarter are gonna get us to the finish line, are gonna be able to, do things like actually launch the record, radio publicity, print publicity, all the usual stuff, and we can't do it without you. We've always come to you in the past, so I'm just really excited to be here, to be able to bring this to you, and check out all the different rewards. We have set up all kinds of cool ways to incentivize you participating, and we're going to be in touch, just keeping in touch about how this is going. We're trying to get to that finish line by the deadline, and Kickstarter is all or nothing, so you put your contribution down, and if we make the goal, then awesome. If we don't make the goal, then we don't get anything, and it's just a flop. So we don't want to flop, and we know that you're there for us. Maestro Lobatón is here, and just encourage you to participate and let us know if you need anything. We'll get those rewards right out to you as they're marked here on the page, and really look forward to your support and to your continued listening to our music and exchange of ideas.
Thank you. Gracias.